Thanks for tuning in to Wanatalk. I have with us today Jason Sharon, owner and broker of Home Loans. Jason is the author of VA Mortgages Declassified. The book is to educate and equip veterans to use VA mortgage loans based on his experience as being a loan officer. Welcome to Wanatalk, Jason.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. While reading the book, there was something that really caught my attention. You mentioned that mortgage approval basic training, and it consists of character, capacity, and collateral. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, Jason?
Yes, ma'am. I tried to write the book in a manner where it was written for a veteran to understand, not real mortgagey, technical stuff. So I broke it up into character, capacity, and collateral. Character being, hey, what's the chances that you're going to pay the loan back? That's the credit score and your credit history. So just because you got a good score doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to get qualified, and just because you don't have much history doesn't mean you won't get qualified. It's a combination of both. And then the capacity is, hey, do you make enough money to cover the debts, and do you have a good history of making that money? So let's say you got a brand new commission job yesterday, and you're going to make a ton of money, but you don't have history of that. That's generally not going to bode well in the VA's eyes that you're going to be able to cover the loan and your other debts. And then the other part is, do you make enough money? Is your income enough to cover everything? And then the collateral is, let's say the borrower, and I do see this all the time, is say the borrower is good. The veteran makes enough money, has good credit history, has good credit, has good assets, but this house doesn't appraise for what everybody thinks it's worth. Or the other part of it is the person that owns it has too many liens on it, and the money from the sale isn't going to cover all the liens. So that's the collateral aspect of it. So all three parts are important in the mortgage approval.
Okay. So remember, it's character, capacity, and collateral. There was a question that was asked, and you answered it in the book. Should I put my spouse on the loan?
Sure, it's a great question. I see that probably half the time my married borrowers, both spouses are on the loan, and the other half is not. So it really depends on, is the spouse's credit better than the veteran? The veteran has to be on the loan. And then does the spouse bring more income than they bring debts? So let's say it's a stay-at-home mom, and she's got great credit, but she doesn't have any income, and she's got some old student loans or stuff like that. It doesn't make sense to go at her because it'll actually weaken the application.
Okay.
All right. Other things that people ask me a lot about is the VA funding fee, because it's really confusing. There's almost a dozen different possibilities for funding fees. What it is that's how the VA makes money, and actually the VA is one of the only departments in the government that is fully self-governed, is fully self-funded. So the VA doesn't take any money from taxpayers. It's all from veterans' funding fee. And basically that's a percentage of the loan amount that gets added to the loan at closing, and that money goes straight to the VA to pay for future loan originating, for underwriting, for the employees, that kind of stuff. If you have a disability rating as a veteran, then that funding fee will get waived. So that's very helpful to people that have a disability.
Is it a certain percentage disability, or is it just they
10,
have to have it?
10% or greater.
Okay.
So it's relatively low,
Okay.
low barrier. Yep. There's a lot of myths out there that I'd like to dispel on VA appraisals. So a lot of listing agents out there don't like taking VA offers because they think that appraisal is tougher. Two parts. They think that the value is going to come in low, and they also think that the VA is going to be tougher on the condition of the property. Remember that collateral part. Mm-hmm. The VA loan program is the only program in the country that has a formal appeal process for the value. So there's two parts to it. There's the Tidewater initiative, which is if the appraisal is probably going to come in low, but we don't know what the value is yet, the appraiser is required by law to reach out to us, the team members, the agents and the loan officer, and say, hey, please get me within 48 hours 3 properties that you want to make sure that I considered for comparable values. And then he has to annotate in the appraisal those properties and were they used or were they not used. And then let's say we go that route and he still comes in low. He or she still comes in. There are female appraisers. There's actually a reconsideration of value, which is a formal appeal all the way to the VA that the veteran can make through the loan officer to get that value to come up if they think that it's still warranted.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And then the other part is the collateral as the condition. So it's minimum property conditions. FHA and USDA both have longer and more numerous minimum property conditions for the physical condition than VA. So most people think VA is tough. It's actually a misunderstanding. Timeline. So I try to lay out good timelines for people. Mm-hmm. From the time that you get under contract to the time that you close is generally 30 days. So I say contract to keys is 30 days. So let's say today's the 25th and you got under contract today. Chances are the 25th of next month, you're at the closing table signing documents, getting your keys, and you're moving in the house that day. You're going to not have a payment that month. You're going to actually skip the following month, and your payment will be due the first of the next additional month. So let's say it's April 25th. You close on May 25th. You'll skip June. Your first payment's not going to be due till July. So you got plenty of time there to where you don't have to worry about double payments. Get some questions on occasion about VA mortgage assumptions. It's not a well-documented, not a well-exercised part of the VA loan process, but you can assume a VA loan, and you don't even have to be a veteran to assume it. You can be a normal civilian working at BILO and get and assume a veteran's mortgage. That does have to be approved formally by the Department of VA, so it's not a quick process. You get through the complete underwrite and approval by the lender, and then that whole package gets sent to the VA there in Atlanta, and then they'll give the official approval or decline, and there's no reason why they would decline it. It's just part of the process. Then student loans. So VA is the most liberal on student loans as far as what they will allow and how they handle student loans. So typically student loans, even if they're deferred, are a big hindrance and a big problem on applying for a mortgage because student loan debt is now just getting so large.
Yes.
VA, if the student loan is deferred 12 months past the closing date of the mortgage, then I can pretend like that student loan doesn't even exist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a big thing. I mean, if you've got $70,000 for student loans because you're working on your master's part time, mm-hmm. and you're still a year out, then you're gonna be fine. Whereas if you're an FHA loan or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, right. You're done. You're not getting a house. You're a renter, unfortunately. Another common question I get, and I get this every week, if not 2 or 3 times a week, is, hey, I want to buy some land and build a house on it.
Right, because that was one of the questions that I had for you in regards to.
Yep. So the VA is set up to be just for primary residence, not a second home, not a vacation home, not an investment property. It's got to be an investment home. Excuse me, a primary residence. If you go buy a piece of land, you're not moving in that thing anytime soon. So you can't just go buy a vacant piece of land for a VA loan, with a VA loan. There are lenders out there, there's not many, but there are lenders out there that will do a one-time closing to where you buy the land, you finance the construction of the house, and then you close on the loan, the contractor gets the money to build the house, they've got 120 to 180 days to finish the build, and then you can move in. So there are programs out there for that. They tend to be pretty expensive as far as fees and rates, but they are out there, and they're not permanent loans. You can, or they are 30-year fixed, but you can refinance into a normal VA loan, 7-8 months later, and get back down to a normal good interest rate.
Okay, but there's not a lot of lenders out there if you want to pretty much buy land and then build.
So I'm a mortgage broker, as we talked about. I've got 54 lenders I could take a mortgage to, and most of them do VA loans. Not every lender treats every VA loan the same, so you use a broker like me to figure out who's the best out there. But to go back to your question, of those 54 lenders, I only have one that does VA construction loans.
Okay. Alrighty. So we've touched on some topics in the book, but it's still so much more information to share. Can you please tell us how to purchase the book?
Sure, absolutely. It's on Amazon. It's VA Mortgages Declassified. There's the Kindle version and there's the print version. It's not very expensive. It's super useful, super helpful. Everybody I've sent the book to and has bought it have loved it.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you for my copy. So last month, Jason was recognized as one of the top 10 brokers in the state of South Carolina. Jason, I just want to thank you so much for clearing out your time, your schedule, making some time for us to talk about VA mortgages declassified. To my listeners, please go out and purchase the book. It's on Amazon. Again, it's VA Mortgages Declassified. Thank you so much, Jason, Sharon, for being here today and talking to us about the tools that are very helpful and knowledgeable in regards to purchasing or receiving a VA loan. To you and to our wonderful veterans, with respect, honor, and gratitude, thank you so much for your service. See everyone next week with more Wanatalk.